We welcome you once again to Vision 24 as we rebuild this phenomenal event. Thank you for accompanying us. And before we introduce our keynote speaker, I just want to acknowledge all of our wonderful sponsors. Of course, our title sponsors you're going to hear more from shortly. Talise, where dreams take root. And we definitely also want to acknowledge our other sponsors, the very generous visionary sponsor, Talise Ranch. Our leader sponsor, Midwest Sterilization Corporation. Thank you for your support. Our advocate sponsor and a big partner of the Chamber, the City of Laredo. And our partner sponsors, many of whom are here with us today, the Vaswani Group, IBC Bank, and Commerce Bank, Sigamoa Clinic, Crowds Development, Laredo Pet Vet, Vantage Bank, and Doctors Hospital. Thank you all for your support. And of course, our in-kind sponsors, PMPG, and our wonderful host, Laredo College. Presentation in store for you, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. David Earl with SC Legacy Development and General Counsel and Chief Development Officer for Legacy Development and the Talise project. David is an attorney and owner of Earl & Associates. He currently serves as General Counsel and Chief Development Officer for SE Legacy Development, LLC, overseeing the soon-to-become a reality Talise project, a planned 13,000-acre multi-use development with experience in many law practices such as municipal law, land use, zoning law, economic development law, water law. David has been sought out by many Texas municipalities, including the city of San Antonio. His contributions have been instrumental in advancing residential, commercial, retail, and industrial development projects across the state, generating millions and millions of dollars in economic growth. We are very honored to have the Walker family joining us today, and also their project, their legacy project that they are developing for many generations, not only for the city of Laredo, but for the county of Webb and surrounding areas. So please help me give a big round of applause to the Walker family. And please help me once again welcome Mr. David Earl.
Thank you, AB. Can y'all hear me okay in the back? Good? All right. Well, it's a privilege and honor to be here with you today as you finish up your meal. And my compliments to the chef. The food was very good. It is a privilege and honor for me to be here today representing the Walker family and specifically this Talise development being done by SE Legacy Development. This is the largest, most exciting project I've been blessed to be involved with as an attorney in my over 34 years of practice. And it's even more important and exciting because this is a project being brought to the Webb County community, to the Laredo area, and to all of you and everyone who lives here, and it's going to be a game changer. My objective today is to walk you through the project a little bit. And before I do, let me just ask, let me see a show of hands of who has heard about this project before today. Okay, AB's doing his job. He's helping us with PR. And who have attended a presentation on it and learned more about the details of it before today? Okay, well, I'm really, really excited that those of you who have not have this opportunity to learn about it. It's a fantastic project. It is truly a master planned wonder. And when you see the scale of it and size of it, it is another city. And I'm going to show you that as we go through these slides. We're going to have some time for questions at the end of the presentation, so I'd encourage you to write them down or just make note of them so you can ask them when the presentation's over and we can address those questions and learn more about the project and get deeper. So, an overview of the project real quick. It's an international integrated industrial city. International because it's right here at the border. Integrated because it integrates everything a city needs to be a Class A, top-notch community in this day and age. It's an industrial city because it has a tremendous industrial component. It has quality, it will have quality recreational, residential, industrial, commercial, and retail uses. It's located in central Webb County, and all of you will know where this is when you see the map, but it's basically where I-35 and 83 converge and 255 cuts over from the Columbia Bridge. 13,000 acres, and all the property is within a new municipal management district that was created by the legislature last session. And I have to pause here for a moment and really thank Representative Richard Raymond and Senator Judith Zaffarini, the Dean of the Senate, for their hard work in making this become a reality. They worked on passing the bill that made the district and gave it the authority to provide utilities and other things that are beneficial. So it's centered at I-35, State Highway 255 and 83, and the UP Railroad. It has an estimated future $1.7 billion, and that's in today's dollars, infrastructure investment that will be put in the ground. Over 9,000 new quality homes, ranging from entry level, 185, all the way up to multi-million-dollar homes will be built in this community. It'll be inclusive and extensive. There'll be Class A industrial, commercial, and residential development projects. There'll be over 34 million square feet of new industrial. That's a staggering number. 34 million square feet. This is going to be a project that will outlast the rest of my career. It truly is a legacy. And I want to thank the Walker family, Candy Walker and Elizabeth Walker, who's here tonight or today, as well as the rest of the family, like Kathy and others, that give me the opportunity to work on this. It'll create thousands of permanent jobs, and in addition, over $12 billion of future tax base for Webb County. That's huge. We've been working with Laredo Community College, the Department of Labor, Job Corps, and other groups, TAMIU, to bring about a coalition of workforce development that's going to feed the jobs for this project and help people in the community have jobs in the future. If you were here for the earlier discussions that were given in speeches by the governor's office, one thing that was stressed was you have to have the utilities for growth and economic development to occur. So this project, the very first step we've taken is focus on the infrastructure and utilities. Talise will provide a stable, secure, and abundant public water supply. It'll have public groundwater providing full fire flow within the development, all aspects of it. Fire hydrants, fire flow in the warehouses, commercial, retail, and fire protection for the homes. The water supply, importantly, will not be sourced with the Rio Grande River. It'll be sourced with groundwater, wells that are over 4,000 feet deep, tapping an untapped, beautiful resource of fresh water. It'll have public wastewater service within the entire development and approved recycled water available for irrigation, industrial, and park use. So it'll be a conservation subdivision, conservation development. One of the things that faces this region is basically, I'll say, a shortage of water. There's water, but there's not enough of it, and it's not reliable and stable. This project solves that for Talise, and we want to also use that opportunity to solve it for the Colonias and get them water, and work with the city to make sure we have interconnects so there's stability across the area, the entire area, with water utilities. The other challenge in this area is power, electric power. Some of the areas of the county are so underserved that there's actually a limitation on what can be built because there's not enough electricity. So we work very hard on solving that, and we have heavy three-phase power available from both AEP and Medina Electric Co-op in this project. In fact, the Walker family has donated 2 large substation sites. In the next 12 to 24 months, there will be 2 major substations built north of the city on this property that'll provide more electricity than it's ever been available before in that region of the county to serve this project and benefit the whole region. In addition to the AEP substation for the Springs and the dedicated MEC substation for the Township Vistas of Preserve and Retreat, we'll be building constructing a 600 or more megawatt generation facility. That'll be a gas twin cycle generation facility It'll provide electricity, backup power, and primary power for our water system and for a microgrid within the industrial development, but it'll also feed that electricity, at least 50% of it or more, into the ERCOT grid, which will help stabilize this region, the city, and the entire Webb County area. In addition, we'll have supplemental geothermal and hydrogen power production. We're working with TAMIU right now on a geothermal pilot program, and we're really excited because we found that you have an abundance of geothermal potential in this region, and it's not tapped. And yet here we are with a limitation on electricity and high electric costs. We want to help change that for the entire community, not just Talise, but the entire region. It'll also have full-service natural gas for industrial, commercial, residential uses, regional drainage and detention facilities. This subdivision is being built out not to county specifications, not to the city of Laredo specifications, but actually to the city of San Antonio and SAW specifications, with higher street standards, higher drainage requirements, voluntarily because there's no requirement to do it. But the Walker family's made a commitment that they want to build a lasting legacy, a sustainable legacy for themselves, their children, and their community. And that's why they've upped the standards, and the LMD that regulates development in the area will make sure those are complied with. For example, all the streets in the industrial will be solid concrete streets. There'll be no asphalt streets. There'll be no potholes, because we're putting in concrete streets and we're segregating and separating the industrial traffic from residential traffic to make sure the residential streets don't get decomposed and broken up by heavy industrial trucks. Planning forward, planning ahead, and being smart to build a good community. There'll be a multimodal transit system. Obviously, we'll have trucks. Again, Richard Raymond, and I have to compliment the Krause family on this, worked real hard on getting the 255 corridor an overweight corridor designation. So there'll be not only regular trucks, but heavy load trucks and twin tandem trucks coming from Mexico into this project. There'll also be rail. We'll have 2 short line railroads off the main UP line that goes right beside this property. One on the south side, close to Webb Road interchange, and the other next to a new freight airport, which will have heavy freight and executive airport traffic. Not to compete with Laredo at all, but to help Laredo become an international passenger airport, commercial airport, with hopefully direct flights. This will not have those type of flights. These will be all heavy industrial freight aircraft, and then private aircraft, an executive type terminal for business people and private jet owners, plane owners who want to fly in and out of their homes, which will adjoin the airport, and they'll have their own private hangars at their own property with private taxiways feeding to the airport. Visionary. The key entities involved in this community are the SE Legacy Development Company. That's the development arm of the Walker family, who I have the good fortune of representing. The Legacy Water Supply Corporation, a very critical entity. It is a nonprofit, not-for-profit, Chapter 67 of the Water Code, Water Supply Corporation that has as its sole mission producing, processing, treating, and providing on a wholesale basis the best, cleanest, high-quality water available, I would argue, in all of South Texas. All this water will be filtered by reverse osmosis filtration. Extremely clean water. It will also provide wholesale sewer service. Within the 13,000 acres, that district that got created by the legislature, the Municipal Management District, it'll be the retail provider of sewer and water services. So it'll be like the city utility that people utilize for water and sewer services. And we're discussing with the county and others the creation of reinvestment zones and public improvement districts to further benefit the area and provide public financing. Why? Because it drives the cost of housing down and makes it more affordable to the end user. And it lets us make development pay for itself. Some of the tax revenue that will be generated from the new development, industrial, commercial, for example, can go to offset the cost of housing by helping pay for some of the infrastructure for the residential and rental market development. Now, we talked about the water. I remember very well when Rick Walker, God rest his soul, first talked to me about this project and wanted to hire our firm. He told me, very practical man, very, very earnest man. He said, David, I don't want a spoon of dirt turned on this project until you can convince me and show me, and we know for sure that there is a reliable, sustainable, and abundant source of water for the people who will live here forever. And that's the first thing we endeavored to do. We hired LRE Water, you see their logo at the bottom there, Dr. Jordan Furness with the UT Austin's university system, and his firm to begin an extensive study of the aquifer, or aquifers in this area. The Walkers invested over $20 million of their own money in studying this aquifer before they would commit to doing a project. What we found by drilling and sampling and monitoring a number of wells, some of which are identified on this map, was that you have two primary water supplies. The Sparta or Laredo Aquifer Formation at about 700 or 800 feet deep, which a lot of ranchers, farmers, oil companies, rural homeowners are tapped into. And that aquifer basically fluctuates a great deal based on production. During the summer, it gets pretty low. People are having to lower their pumps to keep with water. During the winter, it gets higher. But when an oil company kicks on their big pumps to do a frac, boom, that water level drops. We saw that on our analysis, and we knew that that was not a suitable water source for this development or the region. So we went deeper, and we drilled 4,000 foot deep wells, a number of them, and studied others that we didn't drill but monitored. And what we found was there is a very good and abundant water supply in Webb County. It is just not being utilized. You don't have to go to Corpus Christi and use seawater. You don't have to go build huge reservoirs and hope Mexico honors their treaties and fills them up. And you don't have to drink polluted surface water. The water is right under your feet, or at least under the feet of Webb County, because there's a fault line that runs through the property from east to west, or kind of in a southwestern direction, eastern direction. And to the north of that fault line, there's abundant water. We're talking water that starts at about 2,000 feet and goes to 3,900 feet. Huge water column, deep sands, good water that needs very little treatment. And so we began drilling wells, and the Walkers invested in these wells, and we pump test them for a 100-day pump test. The law only requires you to do 36-hour pump tests. They did 100-day pump tests and verified this resource and paid for an entire hydrological model, not just of their property, but the entire county to be done, which LRE has completed, and we verified to the state that the water is available and there, not just for today, not just for the next 30 years, but in perpetuity. Because the demand of water that Laredo would need, or this project would need, is X, and the recharge of the aquifer is Y, which is higher. That means there'll always be a source of water there if we manage it correctly and utilize it as good stewards wisely. So this represents 42 wells, public drinking water supply wells, that the Water Supply Corporation has had permitted through the TCQ. These wells, in addition to the well fields that we've contracted with and will be contracting with more well fields, can produce over 50 million gallons a day. According to the city's projection, that's enough to serve them past 2080. And it's certainly more than enough to serve our development. At maximum build out, our development needs about 10 million gallons a day. So it's 5 times more than we need for our development at maximum build out. So let's talk about the master plan. Let's talk about what this project really involves. First of all, the project's located at I-35, US 83, we have I-35 going across the right, US 83 kind of up the center, and then 255 coming from the Columbia Bridge, coming to the east and intersecting with I-35, the green line. In addition, we have the railroad, the UP main line, going right beside the property. And then to the north, you have another green line. TxDOT's asked us to work with them on dedicating that right-of-way, and doing an east-west connector between 83 and 35 to take pressure off of 35 and 83 when it gets closer to Laredo, so people can transfer up or back down and not have to go all the way to Laredo with congestion. So you understand where this is. We went ahead and put the Gateway project in the light blue. Those 3 tracks are the Gateway project being done by the Krause family. I'm sure you've heard of that. They have about 3,600 acres. Everything else that's colored with shading and designs is the Walker's property, the 13,000 acres that is known as Talise. Now this is a busy slide, so bear with me. And I'm going to tell you what we've got going on here. Commercial and retail. This project has over 5 million square feet of future commercial and retail. This is not a today and yesterday or tomorrow project. This is a long-term, 30-year plus project that will provide inventory, housing, commercial opportunities, exciting entertainment opportunities, and housing for generations. Commercial and retail, workforce housing, over 1,000 workforce homes, so people can live, work, and play 15 minutes from Laredo. Half-acre estate lots, over 850 of those. Very high-end amenities subdivision. Currently the Catalina Ranch will be converted into the Retreat. The center tract, known as the township, will have the retail, the industrial, workforce housing, a town center, this green spot right here, which will be a large 80-acre town center that'll have a placa or a plaza in the center, like you see in San Miguel, or something like that, with a church, civic building, retail restaurants, living above, very quaint, very beautiful, master plan, perfectly architecturally done to build the nicest community possible. And around that will be housing, single-family housing, housing for rent, single-family housing for rent, purchase, the 32-acre lake, water features, because we have the water to do it. There's also going to be multifamily units, over 600 of those. The rail yard separated from the residential, so they're properly buffered. 2 short rail lines. The airport, shown up at the right. The very top, the Springs, is going to be a really unique development. 5 to 10 acre lots. You can imagine having a 5-acre or 10-acre estate lot, building the home of your dreams, living there, and having every amenity, everything you need to shop, to enjoy yourself, to entertain your family. Miles and miles of park trails, equestrian trails, 4-wheel drive trails, hike and bike trails, multimodal trails. The preserve right here will have 1 to 3 acre lots. Something for everyone. That's what this project offers. This property is slated right here, the Vistas at Talise, to be an amenity-rich subdivision with over 900 homes, with beautiful views. I've had the privilege of driving out there many times. You could see practically to Ensenal to the north and all the way to the border to the south from the vistas on those hills. And there'll be some spectacular lots.
So what's going to be started first? The first phases will be 2. Phase 1 of the township tract.
This will start off with the industrial component showed in kind of the orange color here. The family has a contract with Stewart Development out of Houston. They do all the Tesla plants in Austin, other big developments like that. They'll be building initially this year 1.3 million square feet of industrial warehousing, spec built. That consists of these 4 buildings right here. And then that'll continue to be built out over time. There'll be 300 workforce housing units here, a multifamily complex here, build to rent, commercial and retail. And up here at the corner, there's a lot of activity here, a lot of demand, a lot of attraction for people that want to buy and develop here already. We're very blessed. There'll be a truck stop there. I can't disclose who it is, but it's a national brand. and they should have a truck stop built within 18 months. That'll provide fuel and resources for the trucking industry coming in and out of Mexico, up and down 83, and be one of the first things coming out of the ground at the project, as well as the industrial. Here we'll have water storage tanks, above ground tanks, a 2 million gallon tank serving Talise and a 5 million gallon tank, custom treated water to blend with the city should they want to do an agreement with the Water Supply Corporation to link the systems together. And from conversations we've had, and I know Councilwoman Earl is here, but I'm not asking her to comment on this, but from conversations we've had at briefings of the City Council, in workshops, and then meetings we've had with the city management and city manager, it's very apparent that they have the desire to have the strongest utility system they can have. And we recognize that by linking these systems together, we have redundancy, stability, jointly, and a secondary source of water in both directions. Smart thing to do, so we're working on that. No promises, but hopefully it comes to fruition. In addition, there'll be a water treatment plant here that treats all the water, and the energy production facilities to the north. Substation has already been dedicated. They're getting that ready to install concrete batch plant for the industrial development, and bulk fuel storage to serve the power plant, the fuel stop, and other things. Very well thought out. The rest of the property is already master planned, but we have flexibility. If Amazon came and said, we're going to build a distribution center, we can accommodate it. We want to accommodate it so that it's here for the community. If Costco came and said, we want to build a Costco, we can accommodate it. We want to accommodate it. It's good for the development, but it's good for the community. We want to make sure Laredo gets its share of everything it should have. That's the township. The other first phase is the Springs at Talise. This is the most northern development. It's the 5 to 10 acre lot tract. The estate tracts. Sorry about that. And this is already getting ready for construction. The plats have been filed with the county, and construction will begin in the next few months. If you go out there right now and drive up and down 83, you'll see huge water pipelines and fire hydrants being put in. 16-inch, 24-inch water mains. This project's not a dream, it's a reality, and it's happening now. There's plenty of existing infrastructure. I won't get into this because I know we have some time limitations, but you're all familiar with the area. And this PowerPoint's available for you if you want to get it electronically. We'll send it to you. There's also a lot of improvements coming down the pike from TxDOT. These are all funded projects that'll enhance and widen these roads. We're working very closely with TxDOT. They've been very good to work with. They're going to be widening 83 and making it Highway 27, taking care of slowdowns and blockages at 83 and 35, completely redoing 35 all the way through the project to the north going toward the checkpoint. But they need help. They need right-of-way. If they don't have the right-of-way to widen the projects, it delays the project. So the Walker family are making very strong commitments with TxDOT to benefit everyone that travels on these roadways. There's opportunities for TxDOT, and Talise is taking advantage of those to help the state with the Ports to Plain, 83 to I-27 project, obtaining the interstate right-of-way that's needed so it could be 400 feet wide on 35, 6 lanes with access roads. And also the realignment of the railroad, the I-35 connectors. And again, you can get a copy of this to see the details. But it's amazing what's being done to get traffic flowing better and improve life conditions in this area by the federal government, state government, and your city council, and the county commissioner's court. And we want to help with that. To give you an example, this critical corridor right here, where the UP crossing is, it's being redone. Up and down this roadway, there's a lot of at-grade crossings, which are very dangerous for traffic. We're trying to help eliminate some of those and make overpasses to make travel safer, more efficient. This corridor as well. We have our own transportation projects. There are actually 10 of them identified that we're working with TxDOT on. I won't go through them in great detail because of time, but basically we have critical priority projects shown here as 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those are the most important to our development, and we're working on getting those probably built first. And then we have the high priority, which are 5, 6, 7, and 8, that are being done with TxDOT as well. And then the medium priority, including airport funding, which are longer term priorities, and we'll work those out as we go with the federal and state government. But what we can do now, though, what the walkers are committed to doing, is to help expand the lanes of traffic for everyone. For example, right now, the railroad comes right beside the highway, and it confines the highway right-of-way. There's not sufficient room to build 6 lanes. What we've talked about is taking the railroad. The state level wants to shut that railroad down and acquire it and move it to this location over here, so it's out of the way. The walkers are willing to donate over $13 million of right-of-way, so the state can take that railroad track, build a new one here, and once it's operational, dedicate that to the railroad, shut this one down, which will give the state the entire 400 feet of right-of-way it needs to expand 35 to 6 lanes going north. We're doing our part. We want to do that for the community. In addition, along 87, the walkers have agreed and committed to TxDOT that they'll donate over $15 million, 150 feet wide, 21,000 feet long of right-of-way to expand 83 into the new U.S. Highway 27. Because of that, we're getting priority funding for this segment, working with the MMD and TxDOT to make this the example for Highway 27 for the rest of the nation as it grows north toward Canada. Our projects, the 3 primary ones we need, are an interchange at 255, an interchange at 83, and an interchange at 35 with a flyover, which will go to the future outer loop connection. So we'll have connectivity from Columbia Bridge, from the World Trade Bridge and Laredo Main bridges, as well as from Bridge 4-5 in the future when that is constructed and operational with the outer loop. Planning ahead. Again, I won't get into the detail of these, but the big thing we want to also do is work together on the top priority projects and bring automation of traffic flow from Mexico into and out of the Talise Township to increase efficiency. We're working with the state of Leon on that, the governor and his office, and that's going very well. So what can we do to work together? What can Talise do to benefit the city of Laredo, Webb County? Because we don't want to compete. We want to cooperate, collaborate, and lift everything up within the community. So we're going to propose a regional economic development agreement between the city, the county, the MMD, and the Water Supply Corporation for planning, to do proper planning, long-term planning, economic development, and to acquire funding from federal and state government sources to help bring more amenities, more security, a better water source for the entire region. To put this in perspective, this is the Laredo area. The area in orange are the Talise tracts, 13,000 acres. You're all familiar with the roadway network, what it looks like on the map. What you may not be familiar with is this. What's shown in the shaded area here, kind of a pink area, is referred to as the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction. In that area, the city has planning control, platting control, and certain authority. Outside that area, they don't. The entirety of Talise is actually outside of that planning area, that ETJ, but the rest of this property is in it. The blue line represents the future alignment of the outer loop. And you also see the State Highway 84 extension there as well that's being worked on now. I'm going to take away some of the shading to make this easier to see. And again, you see the city's current ETJ, the future loop right-of-way, and on this map you see Colonia Service Area number 3. There's over 2,500 people who live there with no water at all. They have to truck it in. We're drinking water, came from a faucet, tastes good. These people have no running water. They still, this day and age in Laredo, have to truck their water in to get water. It is sad. So the county's asked the Water Supply Corporation and passed a resolution asking to work with us to get joint funding from the federal and state government and provide the water we have found to the colonias. We have agreed to do that. We're working on a finalized agreement to make that happen. But how can we leverage that to make it even more beneficial to the community? In this regional agreement, here's some of the things we can do. When we put the water line in from service area number 3, Colonias, up to Talise, we can make it track the outer loop. By acquiring that with federal and state funding and widening it to 100 feet wide, we have the first 2 lanes or more of the outer loop secured. By donating that to the RMA, now the RMA can build the outer loop, at least that segment, very quickly. Because there's no, not very quickly, but quicker, because there's no right-of-way constraints. And it will have water service, which will bring economic development. And so working with the city, we could theoretically do a reinvestment zone, and the new development in that area could help fund water infrastructure that would offset the cost of future water to the residents of Laredo by the county's contribution in the tax base. That gives you an overview of the Talise project. It's a very unique, very well thought out project. It has a lot of moving parts, but it's happening right now, and you can be part of it. At this time, I want to open up for questions, if you have any questions. I don't know how we're doing on time.
We're okay. We have time for questions.
Yeah. Let's see. It's a lot. I know everybody's eating chicken and they're a little sleepy, but yes, sir.
We're hiding that in for saying you put a part of it, how in the
Well, we are currently in the development phase. We're looking at anything and everything that people want to do. Some things are possible, some things are not at this point in time, but maybe in the future. You can contact us if you want to have a business, if you want to buy property, if you want a joint venture with the development company on building something nice and special. The door is open to everybody. Again, this is not about a family who's trying to make as much money as they can. They are truly, and this is unique, trust me, I've been practicing law for over 30 years. I've not seen it before in my career. But this family is truly focused on bringing something good to the community, not just benefiting themselves. They want to make an impression, a lasting mark for generations to come for their family. So the door is wide open. So if you're interested in industrial in one of these 2 areas that are coming up first, here's who you contact. Take a picture of it. If you're interested in residential, the first development of residential, the large lot, you can call that number or get on live@talise.com and you can register and get communication going between you and the company to see what we can work out. For all the other commercial, retail, multifamily, and other type development, there's a phone number there, or you can get on the web page and contact them, and you'll be connected with folks that can help you, talk to you. You may end up talking to me or one of the land planners or someone else, but we want to see what the community wants and make sure we can deliver it in cooperation with the community where everyone benefits and not just one family. Other questions?
out here here in the
I was just wondering, you touched a lot about the infrastructure. I just wanted to know a little bit about the entertainment part of things. You said that, you might be developing something for everybody. I know that there's not a lot for entertainment. You're local, there are people leave out of town on the weekend and try to, get away. I was just wondering what do you guys have on the works for entertainment?
That's a great question. So in our master plan, we've identified a number of entertainment uses that will be incorporated into the various components of development. Some will have one, like big convention spaces or assembly facilities. Others will have multiple, like different venues for live music, performing arts, things like that. There'll be a number of different community venues, and every community will have their own venues on site for certain beneficial uses like entertainment and things like that. And then there'll be commercial venues where you'll have, of course, things like restaurants, bars, nightclubs. And for example, the town center will be a hub of entertainment. There'll be live concerts there. There'll be activities there. You'll be able to go there and easily park and go to an area where you have a cornucopia of choices of food, beverage, music venues that you can go and enjoy yourself at and then safely get back home. We'll have Uber. Other questions? But we're also looking at things like sports parks, soccer complexes, all those type of things will come over time. But if you have ideas or suggestions, please get online and give them to us, because we cannot think of everything, but collectively we can. And we want to look at what we can include that people want, especially in Laredo market, and they don't currently have or they want more of. Other questions? You let me off easy. All right. Well, thank you so much. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, another question.
Any negative effects that you guys have come across that?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Any negative effects that you guys have come across that might affect your widow? Negatively?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I've thought about that and I've looked at it on a whole. You would think that, hey, you're going out there and you're building a whole lot of new stuff and that's going to hurt Laredo, but it's actually not. What happens is it makes Laredo more attractive to outside investment. That means that more people want to locate businesses and headquarters here because they have a choice of where to live, what to do. It's just not Laredo now, it's Laredo and Talise. Two communities working together in tandem closely. That's how we want to operate. It's like, if you're familiar with San Antonio, it's like Bernie and San Antonio, okay? They don't compete with each other, they complement each other. You know, Alamo Heights and San Antonio, they complement each other. It gives a sense of diversity and opportunity. And also, what we're bringing to the area and the community, we want to share. We don't want to hold it for ourselves. The family wants to share that with everyone, like the water resources. And that one thing alone will provide so much benefit long-term to the city. And Talise is helping pay for all that with what's built out there. So it keeps that cost from being on the ratepayer of Laredo and keeps it balanced between two different economic centers, drive the cost of water down. It's a good question. Other questions, comments? Going once. Yes, sir. Now here's a man who knows stuff. He used to be city manager, so he's going to get me on something. Go ahead.
No, I just want to make a comment and to those of us that are Laredoans here, this is a project that I wasn't very familiar with, and being here and hearing it, as a former city manager, I think Laredoans will be able to leverage this project and benefit from it in many ways. One of them is, as was mentioned before, Laredo has been looking for a secondary water source, and when I was with the city back in the early 2000s, we were looking at bringing a line from Talise Springs, which is 80 miles away, billions of dollars, but it was something that we needed to look at. Well, here's basically the Walker family providing a secondary water source that I think will be able to resolve for many, many years for the city. So I'd like to congratulate the Walker family for really having that vision, and presented it here in Vision 2024. I think that is nothing but good news for the city. Also, as we look at the infrastructure that would be available, close by, and we always hear that Laredo's landlocked and there's minimal infrastructure, and we have to grow as we go. Here, we're going to have a lot of property available for development, which should drive also the price of real estate down. So again, nothing but good news here, and I'd like to congratulate everybody involved with Talise and the Walker family, and nothing but good things for the.
Thank you so much. I appreciate those comments. Yeah, this family has truly worked very hard on making something very special happen for the people that they love and care about, and that's Webb County, including Laredo. They're born and raised here, and I can tell you their heart is very much and sincerely in the right place to bring good things to everyone in this community. Yes, sir.
Can you explain to us a little bit more on the aesthetics
Yes, so there was a consulting firm, Norris Design, hired. And the idea is to make this, in my opinion, I've been involved in billions and billions of dollars of development, hundreds of thousands of acres over my 30-year span. This will be probably one of the most, it will be the most beautiful community I've ever had the good fortune of working with. I'm not just saying that, it's true. Norris Design has put a tremendous amount of effort, and there's been a lot of resources expended on making sure everything is coordinated down to the street signs, the street lights, the type of landscaping, 10-foot wide concrete sidewalks, everything, the color schemes that are used in the community, nothing that's not calming and peaceful, you know. If you get on this website, you'll be able to see basically a lot of the colors and themes of the development, and you'll get a feel for what's going to happen. And as we continue to design and get architectural renderings, like for the town center, the entryways to the developments, those will all be put on the website. So you can watch this grow with us and be part of it by monitoring this website. And we'd love to hear your suggestions, but there'll be landscaping, trees planted, a lot of attention to detail. You go to a lot of developments these days, they cut a street in, they put the minimum amount of asphalt in, they scrape the land, they build the houses, put that much dirt and some grass, it's never going to live, and they sell you a lot. That is not what's happening here. Everything is meticulously done to the highest standard, and you'll see that in the design profile in the website and what will come out of the ground. I should have put some renderings in here. If you go to LoopNet and you look at Talise, you'll see the level of beauty that's even going in the warehouses. Artwork, metal art, concrete art. These are not just big boxes. They're beautiful. And that's what's going to be around Talise. It'll be a softer, cooler, more beautiful place with abundant water. In fact, the word Talise is Native American, and it means lovely or beautiful water, and there couldn't be a more fitting term for this development. Water is life, and water gives security and comfort. And so that's the goal of this vision and the development. And when you look at the colors, the styles, it all complements that mindset that the people who live here and enjoy being here will be able to have when they're in this place, because it's being made into a space with a purpose and a meaning, not just another, development being slapped up arbitrarily. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Have you considered waste management, or are you going to use Laredo? Question is on the waste management.
Yes.
Are you using Laredo as a portal?
So the LMMD will be the waste management provider. They will bid out and contract with solid waste disposal services. The ones that will be contacted are anyone in the area who want to provide those services. Theoretically, the county, the city could even bid on it if they wanted to. But there'll be a bid out process with certain standards the bidders have to meet, not just a scheduled type of pickup, but whether their vehicles are properly maintained, whether they're leaking oil, things like that. High standards, and it could be, Trash Co., it could be Southern Sanitation, it could be Waste Management, it could be, BFI. Anyone that wants to serve the developer will have an opportunity to bid on that, but they'll have to meet the standards, and that will be awarded just like the city does with contracts, and that will be the service provider. What happens is, though, and I've seen this, for example, in a development I did in the valley called Tres Lagos. In that development, we had a public improvement district, and it bid out all the services. So right now in Tres Lagos, you pay $75 a month to the PID, and for that you get gigabit speed fiber to your home, alarm service, all your television channels on digital TV, and you have basically an internet system, web, over the entire community, wireless. And when your kids go to a park, there's stations you can tune into on your television and watch them play. That's the kind of community we're talking about. That's a reality, and it's done for $75 a month because we bundle those services through the governmental entity and offer them to the consumer to drive the price down. Like insurance, the more people you have on an insurance plan, the less you're going to pay. The more people that are gathered together in a service bundle, the less you pay per unit. so we can offer a higher level of service, trash, all those things at a lower price. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Expect to have a regular home, medium size,
When do we expect a medium-sized home?
The medium-sized homes, those should start, I would say, by next year. We'll break ground on especially the workforce housing, maybe even this year. But the smaller homes will start this year. The larger homes will start this year. The medium-sized homes will probably start next year in the township area. We'll be publishing a schedule of build out and things like that on the webpage. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the interest that you have, all the good questions you have, and I look forward to interacting with you about this in the future. I'd encourage you to take this message, get online, ask for a copy of the presentation, we'll give it to you. Share it with your neighbors and your friends, and spread the word about what's happening, because we really want this to be available to everybody, and we're excited about it. We want you all to be excited about it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for taking the time to give this presentation and be here with us. And for you guys as attendees, we really do want to invite you to become advocates and champions for Talise and help educate the public. I think there's a large misconception, and it's really because they haven't taken the time to learn about the project and how impactful it's going to be for our community for generations to come. So we thank the Walker family for being such visionaries and having the heart to be able to do this for the community. So we hope that each of you will leave today being someone who is proud of the development and is able to also advocate for it. Again, if you need any additional information, please feel free to reach out to my staff or I at the Laredo Chamber of Commerce, and we'll be sure to get you in touch with the right people.
Great.
We do have something for you.
Thank you.
I don't think it's that one.
Oh, hopefully it's a bottle. I don't know. Oh,
There's a little trick under here. You did.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. And thank the Chamber for everything they do. Thank you. Was there a photo?
Your picture.
Ah. He took the mic?
No, you took his. Yeah.
Oh. Thank you very much. No vanity. No. How do I look?
Here, we good?